Happy Thursday, everybody. I hope that you're having a great start to your morning. I am here today, as promised, to talk to you about new Facebook algorithm changes that change a little bit of the way you should be marketing on Facebook as a business. I am so excited to be sharing some tips today on changes that you can make starting the minute you are done watching this live video. So I can't believe it's already 2018. I can't believe that only 3 weeks into 2018 and Mark Zuckerberg has already released 2 statements about changes to Facebook algorithm in our future. So I think that says big things about what's coming, and it definitely means that as marketers we have to make some changes, and that's okay. So that's what this video is about today. So I hope you get some great tips from it. If you are watching on the replay, make sure you say hi so I can reach out and give you a shout out afterwards. And if you're watching live, make sure you comment below and say hi and tell me where you are watching from. So I will definitely say hi after we're done here. So like I said, we're 3 weeks in and we already have 2 announcements about algorithm changes that are happening this year. So the first was geared towards businesses, and that was the first one that we heard in early January. And then last week there was a statement released about changes to how we're going to see news in our news feeds and news sources, that algorithm's changing. But like I said, that only means one thing. 2018 is going to be different for Facebook marketing, but it's nothing we can't handle. So let's talk first about Facebook's purpose. The platform that was started, it was started originally to be a social platform, and that was a way for users to connect with one another. It wasn't ever really intended to be a source of marketing for businesses. So I think that as businesses, we should be so thankful that we have this free way to connect with our audience and to build relationships with them for free. I mean, that's just amazing to me. So if we follow the rules as marketers, we will be rewarded. And hopefully you'll find the tips and techniques that I share today to be valuable. And if you do, please make sure you share this with somebody else that could use it. I would so appreciate that. So, hi Amanda. I'm glad you're joining us. I'm excited too. I'm so excited to share this today. So, let's dive in and talk about how these algorithms change our business. Really, that very first statement that was released clearly stated that Facebook's purpose in 2018 is going to be to focus on meaningful relationships and social interactions, and their goal is to get rid of passive interactions, which as businesses we should be really thankful for that, because we know that we want meaningful conversations with our current customers. We want meaningful conversations with potential customers, and passive interactions don't make us any money and really end up being a waste of our time. So I think that the change is for the better. I know it's kind of scary to think about, especially when they said they expect Facebook usage to go down. That can be a little scary, but if we're focused on building meaningful conversations with our customers, it's going to be okay. So how do we make that happen? Well, the number one key is to post and write in your post, talk how you would talk in a normal daily conversation, which ultimately it means talk like you're human. And that shouldn't be hard, but I think a lot of times we're programmed when we're typing social media posts and having these conversations or trying to start a conversation, we're programmed to use certain language, social media language, terms that we wouldn't use sitting across the table with friends in our normal conversations. So words that you should stop using immediately in any of your posts. Like this if, tag a friend if, share this if, and comment below, because we don't use those terms in our normal conversations, and that's what the new algorithm will look for. So if you're using any of those, that's considered engagement bait, and you're asking your user to start a conversation with you, but you shouldn't be doing that. And so those posts are going to get sent to the bottom of the news feed, and that's not what we want as businesses. So, looking at that, it's like, well, that's how we've been posting for how long? Definitely all of 2017 was all about growing your audience by using those terms. So today we're going to look at how you can change that. So hopefully you have pen and paper in front of you. Write down these tips. I'm a firm believer that when you write things down, it automatically goes to your brain and you remember it longer. But I will definitely share these tips with you later on if you want them. Just comment below and I can send you my free report that I'm going to be giving out. So let's see. Before you post anything, there's a couple of questions that you should ask yourself. First and foremost, one, does it offer value to my audience? So you want to be sharing things that they can benefit from, that they can learn from. Two, will my audience benefit from this? And most importantly, will they benefit from it instantly? People, we live in the world of instant gratification. They want answers to their questions now. They don't want to have to wait for them. And that can be difficult to do if you're selling a product or a service, but there are ways to think outside of the box that you can tie in ideas for them and bring them back to your product or service at the end. But first and foremost, you want to deliver value and something that's going to benefit them instantly all the time. Third, am I blatantly selling a product or service? So if you're blatantly advertising your product or service, it usually gets passed in the newsfeed. People don't want to be sold to all the time. So, and then my fourth question I always like to ask myself, is this a conversation I would have with my best friend at our kitchen table? And if it's not, then it's not something I can post, because if I wouldn't talk about it in a friend setting, then more than likely my audience isn't going to find it appealing at all. So let's see. If you have questions, make sure you comment below with those, because I will definitely go back through and answer questions. If I see them pop up, I will try to answer them as well. So my tips, are you ready? Number one, ask questions that require more than a one-word answer from your audience members. So instead of saying, give me a yes or a no, ask thought-provoking questions. So what's your favorite movie and why? Get them to have this conversation with you. And that way, not everybody's answers are the same length. Not everybody's answers are the same word. Because if Facebook sees a bunch of comments on your posts and they're all the same exact word, they're gonna flag that as potential spam. And we don't want to be flagged as spammers. So that's tip number one. Tip number two is to create custom videos. Custom videos go further and they get more traction than just sharing somebody else's video. So that's my second tip. Third tip is to go live. Super, super scary. I can tell you I still get nervous every time I go live, but it's good business and it will help you grow your audience if you're consistently going live and offering tips and techniques and information that is valuable to them in that moment in their life. Use emojis. So this is my new trick that I've been kind of testing on some of my Facebook pages. So instead of saying share or comment, I'm using emojis, the little arrows. If I want someone to comment on a post, I just put a little arrow that points down. So then you're not saying that word, which is now, you don't want to say comment, but you can use the arrow and that's perfectly acceptable. Focus on teaching. Tip number 5. Do your research on things that might be interesting to your audience and talk about it. Share what you found. Give your spin or your opinion on that and really start a conversation. And it's not just about you telling or you preaching to your audience. It's about having this two-way conversation moving forward in 2018. So, find topics that are interesting to you and talk about it. Focus on delivering value is tip number 6. I know we're all a master at something. We all are passionate about something. So if you can really focus on something that you know well and that you're passionate about, and you share information, you teach people, you give them value, they're going to appreciate it. They're going to come back for more because you've somehow made their life easier, and they want more tips like that. They'll crave that moving forward. When all else fails, post something funny, because people love to laugh. So if you're stuck and you've hit that writer's block, which we all hit at some point in time, find something funny and entertaining and interesting. It's going to make them smile. And then my last tip number 8, is to respond to every comment that you receive. And that doesn't mean, hey, thank you, or yep, exactly, not one word responses. You want to focus on that two-way conversation, which means, ask questions when you respond. Make your response to every single person unique in what you're doing. So, you don't want them to come across as thoughtless or as canned responses. You want them to think, oh, they took the time out of their busy day to respond to me. They saw me on their Facebook page. They cared that I was here, and they took the time to really think about what I said, and it mattered. Because when your audience thinks that you matter to them, they're going to come back. They're going to keep watching. They're going to follow. They're going to share you with their friends. They're going to share you with their colleagues. And, that's the way you grow your business. So it's also how you build trust. And in today's world, with so much focus on digital and fast and instant gratification, trust is really key, really, really key. So, if you're finding this helpful, tell me below. I have been so excited to kind of share these tips and tricks with you and give you some ideas that you can use immediately. If you have questions, make sure you ask. So these algorithm changes that I went over, they don't necessarily apply to every platform that we use on Facebook. My tips today were specifically for Facebook business pages, but I know a lot of individuals use groups to sell products or services or educate their audience, or they do it right on their personal profile page, which I will tell you is a big no-no in Facebook world. You risk getting put into Facebook jail anytime you post a blatant sales message on your personal page. So I have tips though on how you can get around that. I'm not going to go over them today, but I can definitely share them or schedule another live video in the very near future. I actually just created my very first a Facebook group. It's called Get Creative, and it's linked to the business page. And I'll be doing a lot of live video training in that group. So make sure you request to join so you get full access to all of that information. I'll share my free reports and tips and all that sort of stuff in there. So I think that's it. And if anybody has questions, I will definitely respond to them at any point. If you're watching on the replay, thank you so much. And for those of you that watched live this morning, thank you. I appreciate it. I hope you all have an amazing, amazing Thursday.